Welcome to the third episode of Conversations with Zalon. And here I have Anthony Perry. This is the first time that I'm meeting Anthony Perry. So I'm going to be learning about Anthony as much as you're going to be learning about Anthony. But what I wanted to do, as I said, is I wanted to create a forum where we can have conversations about the moving trends within music. Technology is taking over. The landscape is changing. Record companies who used to have such a foothold, they're losing it day by day. And now it becomes more about the independent artists and the independent information that they use to propel their careers ahead. It's a different day. And for me, I've always been passionate about these things, and my experiences, if I'm able to shed any light on my experiences, or maybe it may be something that we will work out together collectively as a community as well. So Anthony Perry, I'm just going to ask you just a few questions just so I understand who you are, where you are, and just try to get a little understanding. So introducing, your name's Anthony Perry, obviously, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Whereabouts are you from?
I am from Croydon in the UK.
We're from Croydon?
Yeah, man.
Okay, South London.
Yeah, that
South London in the house.
one.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. How old are you?
I am 22.
22. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And how did you discover about this show?
Well, I went to see, obviously you've got a show on that you're hosting this weekend, I believe.
I have one this weekend, but the one you're probably talking about, the festival, is the 8th of December, yeah.
Oh, okay, on the 8th of December. I heard about that and I'm going, and I'm very excited about that. It seems like a great festival and a good show. I heard about you through Jody Abacus, who I went to go see last Friday.
Wow, okay, perfect.
And I thought I'd check you out, and here I am. Everything else is sort of
fantastic. So let me just trace it back. How did you discover Jody Abacus?
I try and listen to as much music as possible, especially local artists and people from the UK primarily. And I heard about him through Spotify, for a playlist on Spotify, and I don't remember exactly how I found him. Just that I did, and I'm glad I did, because it was a really good show, and I'm pleased to be here now. So.
Right. So you are subscribed to a Spotify playlist. He happened to get on that playlist. And then when you heard his song, did you say, "Oh, who's this?" And then you followed it.
Yeah, exactly. I sort of followed it back from the playlist and found out about him and listened to his stuff from there. It says a lot.
And so once you found his play, you found that it was him as an artist. You followed him on Spotify. Obviously, you listened to more of his music at that point, or was it another time you came back to it?
Sorry, what was the question?
So once you clicked onto his profile, you followed him at that point, and did you listen to the rest of his music instantly, or did you listen to some of it or none of it at that time?
I listened to a bit, and I sort of kept coming back, because as I've had another couple of singles, I realised I sort of liked what he was doing. I liked his material, and that exposure through the playlist eventually led to me listening to more and more. And then I followed him on Instagram, which is an interesting callback to what you said on the first episode about following people on their journey. Because when I then went to his Instagram because I liked his music, and I saw the build up to him bringing out his first album, that got me excited and sort of motivated to go out and see him when it came out, because you could see it was hard work and he put a lot of effort into it. So. Right.
So in the clips that he put out, what was it that he was capturing that got you interested?
It was a lot. It didn't feel like a sales pitch on his Instagram. It was a lot of just him talking and sort of making jokes and being funny, and then clips of what he was doing, working on the album, rehearsals, and a little bit of playing in the studio or rehearsing before the big show, and all that sort of thing. I got more and more invested in. When it came, it felt like I had to go, because I watched him getting ready for it. So
nice. And how much was the tickets for his concert?
They were £11, if I'm remembering correctly, or about there.
And did you go with any friends?
I brought my sister, and she loved it as well.
Okay, cool. So did your sister know about him before she went?
No, I booked her a ticket and said, "You're going to have to trust me on this." And she came, and she really enjoyed it.
Right, fantastic. And did she say she would go back?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
do you think when she goes back, she'll go with you, or do you think she'll invite other people to come as well?
I think we will go together. I think she'll probably invite friends, and I will as well after the first show was so good. It gives you a bit of confidence to then invite people that perhaps you wouldn't first time, you know?
Right. Okay. So thank you so much for going through that journey with me. For me, I think that that is the magic, is understanding the journey between how someone discovers an artist, how they become a fan of the artist, and also how it leads them up to the point of where they want to buy a ticket, and then how they encourage people to come down, and how that process develops.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
when people discover you as an artist, these are the questions, firstly, that I'd like you to ask them. Hey, so where did you notice? Where did you discover my music? Okay, cool. And how? Like what happened? And so I found out a lot of information just because you went to somebody else's show.
Mm,
That makes sense?
mm.
Right.
Yeah,
So thank you for sharing that. That was very insightful for me.
yeah,
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. I can see that you're passionate about music. The fact that you went down there and you was interested in the journey, and you was captured by his music in the first place. So
yeah.
tell us a bit more about you now.
So the situation I'm at the moment is I feel like I'm almost ready to start. I'm basically at square one. I'm ready to start recording and putting things out and getting a feel for, hearing myself on record. But what I'm trying to narrow down at the moment is sort of finding my style and finding what works for me as a singer and what I want to do and release. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of it's like self-identity,
yeah,
because I know a lot of people now, because of things like Spotify and how easy it is to access music, listen to a lot of different types of music.
yeah,
There's a lot of input for you as an artist, and I think it's difficult to pick out exactly what you want to do and who you are as an artist, and that's sort of where I'm at, just trying to refine what I do into something I'm ready to share.
brilliant. So firstly, I want to say welcome, because this is a beautiful journey. I think as artists, we're never really stuck in one space. We're always creating and we're always transforming.
Mm.
What I would say is that, firstly, that this is a process that you're going to have to discover, and you're going to have to try everything. When I
Mm.
was trying, I went to rock, pop, soul, and it was a mixture of what people gravitated towards, but what really sat with me, what really resonated with me, what lit me up, right?
Mm.
Before you do that, I do have a tip though, right? This is something which I would suggest that you should do, is I think you should make an album of songs that are out there, of the type of album that you would like to create.
Okay. Yeah.
So you go on YouTube and you would select, like you might say, okay, I like this song from X person, this song from that person, I like this song from that person. You put together the album and you listen to it and say, does that sound like an album that I could go through from start to finish?
Yeah.
See, try to figure out what the chord is, or the motion behind those selection of songs. Maybe you might need to pull some songs and tweak some songs. Maybe you might need to change the order of the playlist, right? But you create this template of an album, because we have every genre of music, every tempo, every culture all captured already, right?
Mm.
And even though it's not your words and your songs, it's a feeling, it's an emotion. So I would put together a dummy album of songs that are already out there. What that does is it not only gives you a direction and a focus, but it also helps anybody else who you're working with on what it is that you want. You see, producers, when they think, they say to you, "Oh, what do you want?" You say, "Yeah, I want it to be a bit more red." Like we use words, like sometimes when we're trying to describe music, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
But for them, when you play a song, they know, so you want it to be drum and bass, but yeah, you need it to be very orchestral. You want it to be quite big band. You want it to be 808 drums. They will basically break it down and have technical terms. Oh, it's a swing beat. They will look at the songs, listen to them, and be able to understand where it is that you're trying to get to. Now, it
Mm.
doesn't mean just because you said that playlist that you're going to find it straight away. It's a process that is going to take a bit of time. Okay, you know, Michael Jackson made 100 songs to make 10. You know, that's Michael Jackson with
Yeah.
the biggest budget, with the biggest songwriters, the best producers, the best musicians, and a fan base who would buy anything that he wanted, right? And he done 100 songs. So in reality, we should be doing 500 songs, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because we don't have all of those resources to be able to, you know, against Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest is, it depends on what your ambition is. If you're working towards maybe an album, maybe try 30 songs. Maybe, you know, if it's an album, try and get the best 10 out of the 30 songs, right?
Sure.
You can sit down and write it to a guitar first, because I believe that the song is the most important thing, because the production could always change. As my producer Jacqueline always says, if the song is good, the production could always change, right?
Okay.
So, and yeah, you just basically can take it to different producers and get their thoughts and their feelings on the playlist, and then you can get them. Maybe they have something already that suits you. And sometimes a song will be played and it will light you up, and you'll say, "This is it." And then your job is to write a great song on top of that.
Okay. Yeah, that's fascinating, man. I think I love that idea of putting together a playlist to help narrow down on what it is I sort of want to do. It's fantastic. Because it's yeah. Look, a whole lot to say, man. I'm just impressed. It sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah, and so what it does now, because, for example, you may not put like a reggae artist like Beanie Man and then do like Led Zeppelin, because it may be so different that may not be your thing. There may be something that you have a lane, something that has a chord that runs right through your album. And it's in that, I think, is where you're going to find your magic. But be patient. You're 22 years old, you know, like, be patient. Like, if I was you, I would sit down, I would write with a guitarist or a piano player to get strong songs, because you can shift the production. Now, when it comes to production, you also have to think about this. I went to the Ultimate Seminar recently, and they were speaking about, you have to think about if you want to be a charting artist, or if you want to be an artist that is in the clubs, or an artist that is for like playlists, like on Spotify, or an artist that wants to tour. You have to think about, I mean, when I say you have to think about it, consider those things, because each of them, you may do something different with the song. So, for example, if you're going to be in the clubs, then you're going to need to be produced. It's going to need to be bass heavy. That's the kind of production which you need. So think about, and also think about artists. If you could take over the career of the artist, which artist would it be? Who?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a lot. I love the live orchestra sound. I think if you can lay just the use of silence and the sort of give and take between the singer and the musicians, I think that's really sort of takes away all the frills and just leaves it up to the performance. And I really like that. So like, there's artists like sessions with like Tony Bennett I've listened to, and I thought, I'd do anything to spend a day with these guys. And just sit down and just listen to them and work it out and work out my angle on it, that sort of thing.
Cool. So do you sing? Do you rap? Do you play an instrument?
I sing, and I'm learning piano for much the same reason that I want to be able to sit down and play and figure out sort of where my mood is and that sort of thing. So I'm learning, but I've sung for a long time.
Okay, cool. And in your, would it be piano heavy, seeing as that's your instrument that you play, or not?
I think it would be. I think my process would be best started on piano, but from there, like you say, the production can change. I'm open to trying different things, but to sit down and work out chord progressions and the basic structure of the song, I think would all start on piano, and then from there it can go anywhere.
Beautiful. And then what I would say is thinking about, the content, thinking about what would you think about the audience? Think about, I know it may be very early for you at this point to think about who's my audience, But within the songs, once you've got that template album, who particularly would like to listen to that, right? Who is that person? And maybe what you could do, right? What I've heard some artists do is they make a profile of a typical fan base of a person who would like this type of music. So they might say, it's usually I don't know, a young guy aged 20 to 30. He is based in London but likes jazz. And, for example, and they just basically make a profile. And so when they're creating the lyrics, they're having in mind who the listener is, and they're creating something that they can relate to. Some people use that as well.
It speaks to who you're trying to sell it to. That makes sense.
Or you could write from your personal experience, which is very powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. And the more that you speaking into that experiences, the more people have an opportunity to connect with you as well.
For sure. Because I've sat down and wrote songs when I'm in a mood or I'm stressed out about things, and I've sat down and written lyrics to how I feel, and I've come back to them a couple of days later when things have settled down. I feel calmer. I think, man, what was I going through when I wrote that? Like, what was I thinking? But I think it's interesting to sort of look at how those different moods can.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's just
what?
It's just that that's a lot of that sort of comes into trying to figure out what I'm doing, and I think a lot of people, certainly at my age when they're starting out, trying to work out what side of you want to put over and what people are going to like, and it's difficult because you can feel like you'll write something true that perhaps you don't show socially every day. And then you think, but man, I can't release this. I can't tell everyone, this is how I feel about things. But it's difficult. It's a balance, I'm trying to find that balance.
Listen, every artist is a bit different. So it's not my job to tell you the type of artist that you should be. That literally is your decision. Some artists, they just create for a mood or a feeling, an emotion, a point in time. They create music for a cause, like MIA, right? Some artists create music for, like, some artists just create moments for, like, being in the club, and they picture themselves. Whereas, like, if I was in the club, all elements, going home, meeting someone for the night, it being a one night stand, getting drunk, they just create music for that moment. Right? Yeah. But then also there is everything in the world. We have 7 billion people in the world, right? But there are so many people who just want every aspect of everything. So some people want to just hear your story. And that story is very powerful. And obviously, that I used to work with Amy Winehouse. That's what she done. But she was very detailed with it, meet you downstairs in a bar at her, your rolled up sleeves and your skull t-shirt. I said, what did you do with him today? You stiffed me out like I was Tanqueray.
Yeah.
You're my fella, my guy. Hand me my Stella and fly. By the time I'm out the door, you tear me down like I'm Roger Moore. I cheated myself like I knew I would. I told you I was trouble, and you know that I'm no good. That's very detailed. It's very kind of storytelling, And she's very open and honest. I cheated myself. Like, if people cheat, that's usually a secret. That's not something that you put in a song to say to the world. She even, she was very autobiographical. I can't remember. I can't even say the word. Biographical, is that it? Biographical, autobiographical. Autobiographical is one thing when you write. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. She's about her life. The words failed me right now, but you understand. Yeah. So that's what I would is to find what works for you.
Yeah,
find what works for you. I found that when I tried to make music for other people, when I tried to make music just to get a hit, it never worked. I don't try to make a hit. I try to capture emotions, whether it's from my experience or from an experience that I can really see vividly and I believe in. That's what I try to do, So I have this song called um, I have this. Sorry.
No, nothing.
One of these songs is called "You Let Me Breathe." I wrote that song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when Amy passed away. I have another song called Erica. Now, Erica, do you remember there was a situation a few years ago where Mark Duggan got shot? The police shot a black guy, and it was riots, and everybody was rioting and like looting the shops and stuff, right? There was a situation where I was sleeping, and somebody rang my doorbell, and I woke up, and I panicked, thinking that something had happened to my brother, like because they was ring, and I panicked. I got to the door, and it was just the postman. He had an envelope that couldn't fit into my postbox, and I felt, wow, why do I feel so stressed? And the reason why it was the perspective that the media had on it. They just had such a negative slant on it, and I wrote a song which was called Media, Media. Media, Media, stop telling those lies. Stop telling us what and when, and start telling us why. Tell the whole truth, media. Tell the truth, no more, no less. Lead us from confusion and the land of second guess. Anyway, I wrote that song. At the time, my A&R turned around and said, it's too political. And I said, I am not changing this song. He said, it's too political. And I said, I'm not changing it. And then my producer, Jacqueline, who was the media, said, well, Zalon, have you been in a situation where you felt like a woman was too smart for you? And I said, yeah, I have. She said, well, what about Erica, Erica? And so we ended up just changing the word media, media to Erica, Erica. And the words fit for both. It's about, because I could relate to that, that's why I used it. And it ended up being my single and that I released and everything. But I say that to say, I personally needed to have a connection with it. I needed to feel like I could either be in that story, it felt real to me, or I feel like it happened to me, or something like that. But that may not be you.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. You've got to have your angle on it. Like it's got to be. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's super interesting. Super interesting.
Yeah. So what do you think? What kind of artist do you think you would like to be? I know you don't know yet, but what kind of artist do you think?
I'd like to try and mirror my attitude in life, which is honest, but with a sort of positive spin on it. I try and like keep myself up and keep other people around me feeling good. And I'd like it if my music reflected that, to be able to, people would be able to put their headphones in when they're stressed and listen to a song or two that I've made and feel better afterwards than they did going in. I think that's a lot for me.
Nice. So you want to be like, do you know who Gary Vee is?
Gary Vee? No, I don't.
Because he's honest, but he's like a motivational speaker.
I'm going to look this up later and laugh, I'm sure.
What did you say?
I'm going to look this up later and laugh, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, no, he's not. He hates being called a motivational speaker, but he's like a social media influencer, I would say. But don't worry, if you don't know, you don't know. So, is there anything else or what else should I say what questions would you have other than like where to start? Is there anything else that you're trying to understand or that you're just interested in with regards to like music?
Yeah, the other thing, I've got a few notes here. I'm just going to check, make sure I've gone over everything.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. The other thing is I've got an open mic Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've performed since I was in school at GCSE. We did a lot of performance then for like group performance, and then we had to perform in front of about 100 people for our grade. But that was in a group of people that were all in the same scenario. So I've got an open mic tomorrow, and I'm nervous, and I don't want that to affect how I'm performing. So it's just about being confident in I mean, it's only cover stuff tomorrow. It's an open mic. It's nothing original, but it's just trying to bring a bit of confidence. I know I can perform well, but I'm nervous that I'm going to blow it under pressure because it's been a long time. You know what I mean?
I absolutely do know.
Right.
I started my career as doing open mics, and where the places that I performed at, there were a lot of people who were very experienced and very talented, and you had to really be amazing to be able to be recognized in those spaces. So I fully understand. So the first thing I would say is that with open mics, the best thing to do is to go and be prepared. So, for example, rehearsing your piece is really, really important. So when you're going through and you play, are you going to play the guitar or piano? Did you say, sorry?
I've got a recorded backing track that friends recorded for me on piano at the moment while I'm still getting it. Around it all. So I've got a not live backing track. I've got a recorded backing track, and I've rehearsed over it a couple of times. But so that's where I'm at with it.
Have you recorded yourself singing it?
No.
Cool. So there's different aspects of your performance. I'm glad you mentioned this. There's different aspects of your performance that we've got to think about. There's your voice. Yeah. There is your body language. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is your facial expressions. Yeah.
Yeah.
There may be more, but these are the three main things. What I would suggest you do is you film yourself performing it. And firstly, what you're listening to in the audio is you're listening to your voice and seeing if there's areas within your voice that you can better. What I spoke about with Albert, I think it was Albert I spoke to yesterday, and he was saying that when you have a cover song, if you try to draw on the elements and be inspired by what the artist is doing, but make it in your own way, obviously, because that's a different technique. Forget that, because that's a different technique, because that's more when you're actually doing vocal training. This isn't that. You're actually going to perform in front of an audience and you want to have your uniqueness. Okay. So, firstly, what you do is you listen to your voice, and maybe you can even get friends to help, but you listen at in what areas can I improve my voice? So can you breathe better? If you're struggling with breathing, can you hear me?
We're back, I think. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. I'll go back. So when it talks about, there's three aspects. There's the voice, body language, facial expressions. With the voice, you want to see is, are there areas that I could improve in my voice? So for example, let's say, for example, you're singing and you're running out of air, write the words out and consciously mark where you're supposed to breathe to be able to make sure that you can sing the lines. Yeah. If, for example, you're finding that you're struggling on a note, can you sing an alternative note, right? Here's how I rehearse. When I'm at home, I imagine, if you imagine your vocals as a box, I sing outside of my box when I'm at home, so I know where the edges of the box is. So when I'm on stage, I can sing within my box, right? Like someone perfect who sings within a box, Craig David, right? He doesn't sing like crazy, crazy, crazy high. He doesn't sing crazy low. He has a perfect box, and he knows the edges of his box, and he's amazing in that box. And we don't know what he sounds like past it, but everything that he does, he hits it on the head every single time, you know? So the first thing is listening to the voice. The body language. The body language is, remember that they also hear you with their eyes, which is a crazy thing, right? So how you're performing is important. So are there things like look at the words and see what can you accent. If you're saying, for example, I love you, right? You're saying I love you. Is it something that you could, hold your chest? Is it something, if you're talking to people, is it something that you could, you have to see yourself, you are the song. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you want to embody the song. If you give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Right, sorry about that. I had to pause it. I had something going on outside. All right. So the body language, you want to embody the song, okay? So think about, like, if you had here's a technique. Don't sing, perform the song. Don't just stand on stage and look boring, like perform the song. Like use your body language to express what's happening, right? And then when you add your voice to it, it will make it more powerful. Once again, facial expressions. People will enjoy the experience more if they believe that you believe it. So what you're singing, do you really believe that when you're singing about a heartbreak? Are you really heartbroken, or is it just like, yeah, I'm just so heartbroken. Yeah, I'm so heartbroken. Yeah, I'm so heartbroken. Or is it that you look like, oh my God, they really mean it. They get drawn to it, right? So you want to get into the body of the song, and the tools that you have are your voice, your body language, and your facial expressions. So you want to be able to isolate each of them and to be able to enhance them, right? So you film yourself and keep filming yourself, and making tweaks until you get to a point where you're happy. And then also when people come up to you, try to get your friends to come and give you feedback also. And when you get on that stage, also be open to do things in the moment, to be flexible. Maybe you might give somebody a high five. Maybe you might get them on stage. Maybe be flexible, because being open to the changes in the environment can really enhance your skills at being prepared to perform in any environment. When I was coming up, I didn't know many songs. So I used to go on stage and freestyle as if it was a song. And I used to have to be always allowing the environment to be a part of my performance. People, things they say, all of those kind of things, right? And I was able to rise up the ranks because I was open and not rigid. Okay? So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I don't want to go up, on the Saturday and feel like I'm just sort of reading it off, which is exactly what you've talked about. It's really helpful. Thank you.
And film it.
Yeah, I'll film myself.
There's a couple of reasons why as well. You see, firstly, you enjoyed Jody Abacus because you saw his journey. Let people see yours. So literally blog it. Say, hey man, I'm working on this song now. I'm about to go and do this on a Saturday. I had this. I went on conversation with Zalon, and you talked about doing voice, body, and facial expressions. So here's my voice. La la la. What do you think? Like my body language. What do you think? My facial expression. Right. Here's it all together. What do you think? And then you go up there and you show it, and it's a story and it's a journey. And then what happens is, even people who aren't overly invested, but they're getting little nuggets of your journey along the way. So they'll be like, in the future, be like, oh, I've been seeing him grow. I've been, they've been seeing you, so yeah.
Cool. Oh man, thank you so much for your time. It's been really good to be able to sit down and talk to you about this stuff.
Definitely. Thank you ever so much for following me. Thank you very much for being a part of this. I don't really know where this is going. I was inspired to add as much value as I can to the marketplace. And if this can my experiences can help people, it's a real big pleasure. So I thank you so much, Anthony, for being here. And thank you for sharing with everybody your journey and where you're at right now.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool what you're doing, because there's quite a disconnect between people that are trying to break through and people that have made it, and it feels like there's very little in between. Like that bit's blurry. Sort of along.
I mean,
so it's nice to fill that out.
I just want to be clear. I'm still very much on the journey, and when I speak to people who are further along the line, they're still very much on the journey, because there's always more to do. This is the thing. This is why you need to find peace within the journey, because there's always more songs. There's always more festivals. There's always more people. There's always more concerts. There's always more tours. So, for example, Kanye was big before, but then there's fans who may not like his new stuff, that like his old stuff. So there's always a constant strive to do more. Okay, he's done that, but now he's going to sneakers. So there's always a strive to do more and more and more and different things. So everybody is always on a journey. So you have to be really comfortable with that. So where I'm at, I know that I can offer experience. I wish there was more people, just like you said, who was giving more advice, but there's not. So, we will collectively do it as a community. So it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, please stay in touch. Where can people find you?
I will. That's tough. I'm on Instagram. See, this is the thing. This is where I need to start. I need to get my social medias up. I will start setting some stuff up real soon. If I can get in contact with you and stick it in the description in the next couple of days.
Wait, so listen, have you got Instagram right now?
I have.
Right. What is your Instagram right now?
That is. It's Perry, P3RRY, and then Perry, PERRY.
P3
RRY.
RRY.
Yep. And then Perry, PERRY. One word.
PERRY. Right. So the first step, yeah, is when this is up, you'll just put maybe like you have to put content up. So when I asked you, like, hey, what's your social media? Like that's the first step. So this is a discussion that I want to talk to you about. This is another discussion before you go. I'm glad you said that because, okay, so the first day I spoke with Annabelle and she was saying that she's been in the business for many years, but she's behind the scenes. She does backing vocals for many big artists and she's trying to work out where does she start. Yeah. I had a friend who's a producer. He works with, he's had like many different cuts. He worked with Rock Nation, worked with Sean Paul. He tried to find out her profile as the back of our interview, and her profile was closed. So when people ask you, hey, what's your profile? You need to be ready. Wilson has a saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So you don't have to have that much, but you can at least be updating your stories on the things that you're doing every day. If you don't have content or the background or the environment or whatever it is, start with this. Say, hey man, take a screenshot of it, right? And say, hey, it was great speaking to Zalon today. We spoke about my journey of blah, blah, blah. And I'm gearing up towards doing the open mic on Saturday. It'd be great to see you guys down there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I've got some work to do then.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, don't see it as a massive thing, but literally, content is the gateway to where you need to get to. Content.
Yeah. Start now.
I'm gonna be speaking more about content and the power of content and how I ended up touring in other episodes now, because I know you have to go. But content is your gateway to the things that you want.
For sure. Okay.
Thank you, Anthony, and we look forward to hearing your progress.
Cheers, man. It's been good to talk to you.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.